Hey everybody, welcome to the Geekdom. Today I'm going to do a movie talk on the Christopher Nolan films for Batman. The Dark Knight Rises isn't out yet, but I'm going to talk about my expectations for that later on in this video. So let's get started with Batman Begins. Now, Batman Begins is definitely an origin film, and they definitely take it to that level where most of it is really just story, lore, history, connecting the dots between what happens in the beginning all the way towards the end, and there's not a lot of action. Anything that can be classified as action doesn't really happen until like an hour into the film, so that leaves out action buffs who are looking for a superhero movie with action, because when you hear superhero movie you do look for action, so that leaves a little bit of people out. However, it's definitely for people who like the story and the lore and everything, and who could sit there and appreciate the smaller details as opposed to action and explosions and whatever. So that's a little probably disappointing for people who are looking for action, especially in a superhero film. Also, I felt like they chose two characters that people who don't know a lot about Batman or people just getting into Batman wouldn't know. I don't think they're great starting characters for people who are getting into Batman, because there's classic villains that you attach to Batman, or classic characters that you attach to Batman, and those are like Batman Robin, Batman the Joker, Batman Catwoman, and they chose Ra's al Ghul and the Scarecrow, and people probably know more about the Scarecrow than Ra's al Ghul. So we had Liam Neeson as Ra's al Ghul, and Ra's al Ghul is definitely that kind of character where you want background information on him, you want to know a little bit more about him when you're watching this film, and if you already know about Ra's al Ghul, you'll definitely appreciate him more in this film, because we're given the very basics about him, and also for half the film he's not even Ra's al Ghul, he's posing as someone else, so that little switch might confuse people. But we're given his basic goals and whatnot, and it's very interesting to watch. Like I said, very good film for people who love listening to little details and story and lore and whatnot. Also, we have Cillian Murphy as Jonathan Crane, and he looks the part. I mean, he has like a creepy little look to him, as well as an intelligent look for him, and Jonathan Crane is a very, very intelligent person, and the only thing is, for the most part, he's Ra's al Ghul's pawn. We can see that he does have a little bit of obsession with his work, and he likes to take things to the next level, like experiment on his patients. But for the most part, we don't really see why he does what he does, which is a little disappointing. And again, if you don't really know much about Jonathan Crane, you won't really get too much of his character in this movie. So I felt this movie really appealed to Batman fans more than anything. So if you already know about Batman lore and all that, this is more of a film geared towards you. However, action buffs and people who don't know much about Batman or just getting into Batman won't find this very attractive. It's still a great solid film for anyone to watch. However, a lot of people might be a little confused or not given enough information, and I felt like this is definitely more fun for people who have history with Batman and know about Batman. And for those who don't, it's still a great film, and you know, you can, if you pay attention closely, you'll find out a lot. It mostly revolves around Batman, so if that's all you want to hear is just Batman's story, this is definitely great. Even though I think the little kid playing young Bruce Wayne is not very good of an actor. And so yeah, it's not very good at targeting everyone and getting a very wide audience. It's very targeted to specific types of audiences. I still think it's amazing. I know a lot about Batman lore, so it was fun to watch, But if you are, regardless if you know anything about Batman or not, if you're someone who likes stories and you like the little details, like how they connect everything from the beginning to the end, everything has a purpose and everything kind of connects, and it's just so amazing. I love it. If you're like the kind of person that can pay attention to little details and appreciate little details, definitely a movie for you, regardless if you know anything about Batman or not. However, we get The Dark Knight next, and this is appealing to all kinds of audiences and to everyone. Automatically we hear Batman versus the Joker, and you don't even have to know a lot about Batman to know that the Joker is his enemy. So everyone loves those films with hero versus ultimate villain, and so that's automatically appealing to a wide variety of people. Is just, oh, we're gonna get like the ultimate fight right now because this hero is facing his ultimate enemy, and so automatically appealing. Also, a lot more action and explosions and all that stuff in this film, so anybody who's an action buff can get off on this. We have Heath Ledger as the Joker, who is chaotic, evil, very chaotic, very evil, and he's very interesting. They did chaotic right. Sometimes they overdo it, but I think Heath Ledger did chaotic very, very right. And what's interesting is I find Batman a chaotic good character. So they reinforce this idea that Batman and the Joker are two sides of the same coin, which is interesting because if he's chaotic good and the Joker is chaotic evil, it's just amazing, mind-blowing. Also, we have, what's his name? Aaron Eckhart as Harvey Dent, who becomes Two-Face, and again, we are not given too much of him as Two-Face, so we're not given too much lore about Two-Face. We get more of his origin story. I like this though because we see him more as Harvey Dent and his influence as Harvey Dent, and so that's more fun than just having, oh, Batman facing villain after villain. We definitely get Batman facing Joker most of the time and Harvey Dent being Harvey Dent most of the time as opposed to Two-Face. The only disappointing thing was we didn't get much time with Two-Face, which is, I guess, I see why they had to do what they had to do, but still a little disappointing, and I definitely liked seeing Harvey Dent as Harvey Dent. So everything I liked about Batman Begins is definitely in The Dark Knight. However, The Dark Knight does appeal to more people. Definitely gets everyone interested, regardless if you're a Batman fan or not, and you know a lot about Batman or not. Definitely interesting to watch, fun to watch. I like how they bring up a lot of themes and a lot of questions that have no right or wrong answer to, and it's just amazing. We also get, you know, the well fleshed out characters that have influence and charisma, and that's something that a lot of films leave out is people's character, and you know, we'll have characters but they won't have any character, and I think that Nolan has done a good job in making sure all of his characters have some kind of charisma, influence, impact, something, and we get really fleshed out, well-developed characters. Whether they're big or small, we get a feel of who they are and what their purpose is. So I felt like everything I liked about Begins was in The Dark Knight and then some, but I liked both of them. However, I feel like The Dark Knight does appeal to a lot more people. And don't ask me Heath Ledger or Jack Nicholson as the Joker because they are way too different to compare. I enjoy them both, by the way, and I do like them both. I can't choose one or the other because they're way too different. But yeah, The Dark Knight was definitely a great movie. I think they're both solid films, and I don't think you can really hate either of them, but I can see why more people would be attracted to The Dark Knight as opposed to Begins. So that leaves me with The Dark Knight Rises, which I have high expectations for because I feel like Nolan does such a great job at making these characters and developing these characters that you can't be bored with these characters. And so I'm looking for a fleshed out Catwoman, fleshed out Bane, a different Batman most definitely, because we left Batman off as, you know, persecuted and hated by all his one-time fans and supporters, by the whole city. He's like hated now, and I want to see how he's going to deal with that situation. Also, we left him emotionally scarred, so I'm looking for a new Batman with a new attitude, and I want to see how he's dealing with everything, and I want to see how he is emotionally. Bane and Catwoman, I'm leaving like empty slates. I want to see how Nolan's going to fill them in for me, so I'm not having too many expectations for them. I'm definitely not expecting sexy Catwoman. Of course, Anne Hathaway, very sexy, very beautiful woman, but I'm not looking for sex appeal Catwoman. I'm hoping they tone the sex appeal down a little bit, especially since I don't really see Anne Hathaway having too much sex appeal. At least I've never seen her in any roles where she has this high sex appeal. So not looking forward to that, but I am looking forward to a well fleshed out Catwoman. Bane, another blank slate where I'm just like, I'm gonna let Nolan fill me in and see his version of what he has. Also, you know, if you guys know anything about Batman and Bane, I'm getting nervous. I'm really getting nervous. And also the Batwing. I'm looking forward to the Batwing. I mean, I got excited when I saw the Batmobile. I didn't really care too much for the motorcycle because I'm used to Robin on a motorcycle. I am looking forward to the Batwing though. That is like one of my favorite Batman devices is the Batwing, and I can't wait to see how we're going to use it and how they're going to incorporate it. I'm just so excited. I don't know. I don't see how they're going to mess up. Of course, you know, I'm trying not to have too high expectations because I don't want to be disappointed, but I really can't see how they're going to mess up too much. So, yeah. Thank you for your time. Bye.